Hi, this is Nicky T, Paintball Professional, and today it's time to look at the Chicago NXL layout. Come on, step into my office and let's get you going. What a break from the norm. Look at those snake beams, look at that central complex, look at the D side. It feels like they've doubled the number of bunkers and thrown them on this layout. I think this is chaos reigns supreme, and I can't wait to see how the action unfolds. Now before we get really stuck into this, I've got to do a quick shout out to Guns Up. GunsUp.com, without them and their software, this type of video would not be possible. Looking, bird's eye view of this layout, there's so much you can get into so relatively easily, as in everybody has a place off the break, and I see very few risks from the get-go. I don't think that this is a heavy, we're going to get loads of kills off the break. I think we're going to see a lot of 5-on-5 points and a lot of calculated risks being taken. Probably one of the riskier moves would be the tall tower on the 40 line. Getting into the snake off the break, possible. But I think we'll actually see people go wider than the snake beams, because the traditional snake has gone. There are these angled sets of beams with a cake in the middle, and it's kind of like an indicator towards the 50. And I think we're going to see a lot of action at these mini wall bunkers on the way to that 50 brick on the snake side. I like the use of the pins on the center 50 just to block out some shots and make certain moves a little safer. Love the use of the wedges in the center 50 surrounding that brick, and I think there's going to be a lot of their side of the 50 action where people cross that 50-yard line very early and try and cut off lanes, feeding the snake, feeding the Doritos. So this is going to be a bunker fest. I certainly wouldn't want to be a ref in that central area, that's for sure. D side a little bit more traditional, 4 Doritos in the line, spanning 35 to 35. Inside Doritos super interesting because it's got a bit of control, and it's how well it's played that's going to dictate how influential it is to the flow of the game. Like the tall cake infield on the 30, I think that's a great bunker. Smart stop off on the way to that center 50, smart stop off on the way to the tower and then into the Ds. I think the temple next to it and the tall temple behind it on 25-30 line, I think that's really gonna aid movement towards this snake brick. This is an exciting one. Right. Off the break, you don't really have a super clear indication of what the other team's gonna do. Using that to your advantage, they also don't know what you're going to do. So that gives you options, great options. If you've got adventurous style players who are confident of making that center 50 complex off the bat, they can. If you've got players who would prefer to go out wide, they can. And just looking from kind of start gate height, you can see the tops of those cans over that central 50 complex. You can see the upper half of that tall temple on the right hand side, and you can see all of the inside of the tall temple on the left hand side nearer the Doritos. If we go a little bit higher, quite a lot higher in that instance, if we go a bit higher, you can see that a player breaking towards the left hand side of this start gate would have a shot in on the tall cake snake side, and a player breaking towards the right hand side of this start gate would have a shot over that center 50 towards the temple and the tall temple on the left hand side. This is off the break kills are going to come down to how smart you are. How well do you set up those off the break guns and lanes so that you can get kills safely. And by safely, I mean without getting shot yourself. So it's not a trade-off and right now we're playing a 4-on-4. It's just a constructive, off the break, this is what I'm doing. And I know that I can do that without too great a danger of being shot myself. The other consideration is if you've got people moving in front of those lanes, like a centre 50 runner, you've got to be mindful of, do they stop you from doing the job you need to do when you need to do it? And obviously you don't want any friendly fire. So those considerations are important. The more I see this layout, the more exciting it is that the likes of Damien Ryan are back for the Ironmen, because if there was ever a layout that he would thrive on, I would imagine this centre 50 complex would be pretty high up on his list. Let's see what we've got going out snake side. So as you edge out towards the snake, you can use this can to good effect. The can blocks out the can in conjunction with that central 50 complex blocks out a lot of the dangers on the D side. You've got the opportunity to control that tall temple on the snake side, in the sense of you can shoot the inside, you can shoot the outside of it. You can spot movement coming from the outside towards the snake. It's also a relatively simple bump to get out and then into this tall temple, your tall temple. If you choose not to stop short and go wide, the first usable bunker that you come to is the tall cake along the back line. And you can see that you can get shot going in there from anybody hanging about at that start gate. So that's the immediate danger with taking this off the break. That said, if you're comfortable playing the pocket and you can delay it a few seconds and then go out there, you certainly have options when it comes to how you choose to get out there. If you then edge further out towards the corner, the widest bunker on the snake side is this small cake here. Small cake, and you can see getting into it, there's a bit of risk from anybody who's been super bold and made that central 50 complex off the bat. But like for like, they're running forward, you're running out. Can they run and gun and successfully kill you as you're running out? That remains to be seen. Once you're there, you've got control of the wire, you have control of that central 50, and there's an immediate danger on the inside, in that they could well be posted from that central 50 complex. Nothing else gives you a greater danger than that, and it's really just a scramble up. If you want to move on the inside, it's a scramble up to this mini wall bunker. If you choose to move on the outside, it's control the wire and go. And as you edge round the outside, tall temple could drop paint in, but is really fishing to see if somebody is there and to take that opportunity. Whichever side you choose to go, there's a fight to be fought, and you've got to do the work to secure that next move. Once you're in this bunker, still got the danger from the guy on the inside at that laydown wedge. That can at the back isn't too much of a problem at this stage when you're on the inside. Small temple is a problem, especially if, and I think we'll see quite a bit of this, they don't know if you stopped here or gone into that cake on the middle beam. So that temple, you can see, can control both of those lanes at the same time. They're likely to be at either or, so I'm going to shoot this lane and take as much control as I can. If you're on the outside, the wire's not a problem at this stage unless they're 50 brick and wrapping. The bigger danger is probably that tall tower, the tall temple, that you can see the lane they can shoot between those mini bricks. As you come up, in fact, let's go inside to the cake. This is really a clear the danger infield type of scenario. You can see if they're up past the 50 on the D side, you got bigger problems than the centre 50. From the centre 50, I think there's quite a lot of blind shots we're going to see. Let's see if we can just raise up. So there we go. You've got a shot on D1 from this cake across the top of the wedge, and you've got to be relatively smart. If you want to get the tightest angle in terms of putting paint in on them, you can't come too far off this cake, because if you do come too far, this temple here is going to chew you up, and or the guy at the wedge is going to chew you up. So there's some blind shots, which is pretty cool. I like that. I like that on the field. I would prefer blind shots to bounce shots every single day. If you are in this bunker, so the second mini wall, is that tall cake comes into play. Tall cake and the temple behind him. Let's just double check. Yeah. Tall cake and the temple behind it. It's more the tall cake than the temple. So tall cake is what you want to control. You're blocked off to the centre, which is pleasant. This cake also helps you, but obviously potential for the bounce shot coming in, which as a player I dislike, but completely get why some like it. On the outside, you're fighting down the line with the brick just slightly wider. See, if we edge further, that mini wall, so your opposite, is inset slightly, but the cake at the back is on the wire. Neat little wrap shot on that temple and the can at the back. Neat little wrap shot on D1, and then if you can take that and get in, assuming the centre isn't hot, you got some really good options. Tall cake now comes into play. Better shot on D1, and there's definitely options. We will see a lot of battles tape side where they try and kill the corner, wrap on the wall, or go and bunker the wall, and then actually get in here alive. Because once you're in here alive, you've got the luxury of the protection from that cake, and it's very hard to do a reverse bounce shot if you like. So you can use this to chop up the center, clear the D side, continue to wrap, and go. Really interesting layout, this. Full credit to whoever's designed this, because I think that this is one of the more complex yet playable layouts, and I think we're going to see a lot of excitement off the break for a lot of teams. Okay, let's have a look at D side and see what you've got off the break. Easiest bunker to get to is this can, just on the 10-yard line, and you can see immediately the blind shots you've got to the diagonally opposite can and the tall temple that's diagonally opposite. I think you're going to get a lot of paint coming into this area, so this area between the start gate and the can is going to be bombarded, and the net effect of that is you won't always have the clarity of, one, the kills that you're getting, but two, the where you're getting killed from. So you can't always adjust with the full clarity and knowledge that you would have on other layouts where you see the guy who's shooting at you. I think paint will come in and you'll know it's from snake side, or you know it's from D side, or you know it's from the center, but you won't know specifically which bunker some of the time. I think having eyes outside the netting is also going to be crucial on this layout for that reason. As you edge out and you come in behind the can, let's just give you a bit of height here, you can see you've got a good lane on the tall cake, super blind shot in that you can't see the top of the bunker from being behind your bunker. You've got those lanes, you've got a big lane between the pin and that central wedge to cut off anybody trying to get out to that small cake on the snake side or into the mini wall. But again, it's a shot over the beam, and to a certain extent you're fishing and hoping that somebody's going to run through that zone and you're going to catch them sleeping. So For some it'll be a low percentage shot, for others it's actually going to be something they're quite akin to doing and, you know, yield good results. So this is going to be one of those that's more dependent on skill set and familiarity than anything else. As you come out further on the D side, just take a minute to appreciate who can shoot you. You've got obviously spin and shoot off the start gate, anybody who's bowled running up to that centre 50. You've got the tall temple, the tall cake, you've got the can on the back line, you've got the diagonal can, diagonal tall temple, diagonal tall cake, all can shoot over this centre 50 complex, and there's going to be a lot of incoming paint relatively early in each point in this zone. Can you make it through it? Yes. Can you make it through it all the time? No. Timing, a bit of luck and experience is going to help. You can't realistically shoot your way in and cover all of those bases when it's 5 on 5. So with that in mind, I think we are going to see in the pro matches some kind of static play in the pocket, trying to get out to this temple, and it's going to be a battle. When you get here though, the tall temple blocks off the can. You're less prone to the shots over the blind shooting over the top, especially as you're trying to move low, and it's really that tall temple, that tall cake rather, that's going to prevent the move out to D1. Now there's no corner bunker here, so you've got to be, I think there's going to be an element of creativity, players breaking wide off the bat early, so coming round this, going wide to block off things like that tall cake, and then coming in this angle. I think once you come wide though, you don't have to stop at D1. You could roll the dice and go to D2. The movement down the D side, when you're at D2, you've got these 4 Doritos in a line, including the one you're in. There's a few wrap shots on the tall tower and the can on the back line, and the tall temple further over on snake side. There's a few shots on the inside, but that mini Dorito gets in the way of the temple and the tall temple. Got access to both sides of the can, but then I'd expect to get heat from that centre 50, as well as the can on the back line, that's D side. So really it's the wrap and go, and the wrap and go low is always better. So wrap and go low, I think you're going to see from this D3, this is where some of the central chop up action is going to come. You might catch players at that snake cake in the corner, snoozing, and get one of the cheaper, easier kills on this layout. You might also catch people at that tall cake on the back line and just catch, you know, back of packs, etc. So this is going to be, it's going to be interesting to see how teams approach, how they control this layout when the point is in full flow, because I think that you're going to see one-dimensional players lose track of what's happening across the field and pay the ultimate price. Moving down the D side, again it's wrap and go. This can is the biggest threat when moving from D3 to D4, so crossing the 50. If you can put them in, you've got access to more pack shots, and you also, assuming the centre's clear, you've got access to the snake and the first real shot across field on that cake that's next to the beams. Sneaky inside shots, all you have to do is live here and then take this when the time's right, and it really is still a cluster at this stage. The biggest threat, I guess, on D side is actually somebody running out wide and trying to clear that danger. So running wide, trying to get a shot in on packs and still living. Up deep into their Dorito side, and you really shouldn't struggle to close this game. There's a few spots where, you know, I'd expect teams to have a last man stand. So this temple here in the back corner behind the, well, on the back line behind the Doritos, not in the corner. Possibly the cans, possibly the tall temple there, but really you can live here for a long time against those guns, and they've got to come and get you. It's only if that centre 50 is where I think you're going to lose bodies, and players moving through it is what's going to cause teams to come unstuck. So tackling this centre 50 off the break, let's look at the run in. So going up dead centre in line with the brick, fast and low, and you're in. And you can choose at which point you veer left or right, and use the bulk of these wedges to protect you. And by that I mean this part here. I think we're going to see some action through here, so this type of lane, fighting straight in front of you on both sides. I think there'll be sneaky shots there. I think we're going to see players come into this brick and then dive through these holes, try and take shots through here. So you got good angles on that snake cake. You got good angles on the mini wall. You can push in and get the cake on the beams. You can push in and get, oh, it's a feast, but it's a risky feast. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet, and you don't know if you're going to get indigestion. You got decent shots on D side, but you got the best shots on snake side from this little area here, this pocket. What's going to be interesting is if they make the move and they dive across here, what does that yield? And that really is some sanctuary in here from the angles on the near side to you, and possibly better shots on D1 and that temple on the back. I think we're going to see some exchanges. We're going to see some people jumping in and out. I guess it's a little dependent on how the layout, how the field is physically laid out, and how strictly the refs enforce the movement between and through this complex. Goodness knows, players slamming into bunkers is always going to move / manipulate them, so let's see how it unfolds. I think it's run through a plenty, and it's run through a plenty in the sense of as you move through this area. So let's say we've broken to this particular side of the centre 50, and you're going to come through. The fact that that brick is side on, and the fact that these wedges are so big, protects you from one side of the field, the side that you're not running down. You're going to see some good action that allows you to come from one side of this 50 past the other side and probably end up, you know, in a temple. If you come on the D side, you can end up in that tall temple. If you come on the snake side, who knows, you may even use the cans, dive over to towards the brick or into their snake. So tons and tons to go at. Really looking forward to seeing this layout played. Can't wait to tune in to Go Sports and watch all of the action unfold. And once again, thanks to Guns Up for the fantastic software. Appreciate it, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, please share it amongst all your paintball friends and spread the word.